move up in there.
Now, what did they just do? About 5 years ago. You know how they beautify the streets and they close them up? And you saw where they had the tunnel and they put piping where the tunnel used to be. And they used to pass by your house on 3rd Street when they marched to let you know we're coming. They walked right through.
Horns blaring.
Mm-hmm.
To let you know I'm here and we coming through.
Coming through.
Blankety blank, get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And they would go and do, and I have a document, I didn't bring my Bible, but a lady gave to me when I was pastoring on La Vista Road, a document of the 5 areas they did their most killing of the Klan. How she knows her uncle and her granddaddy were members
Of the Klan.
of the Klan. Downtown,
Mm-hmm.
Decatur, underneath the courthouse. What's his name? Venable?
Venerable James Venable.
His daddy was in there holding up the sign. And how they get promoted is when they kill somebody, they get extra stripes. So when you go to Stone Mountain, you know how you go up the walkway and you see the
monument.
the monument, not that side, the main entrance.
Right. Okay.
What's the Confederate house?
Mm-hmm.
You go up that way to go up the mountain. But if you go down to your right, you can drive around and you see these big old boulders. They chopped off part of the mountain to cover up where they threw people off. They're huge. The boulders that won't even fit in this room.
And I've never understood why black people still go up to Stone Mountain.
Oh yeah, you can walk up to.
But I don't know why black people still go though. Why do we?
Don't know anything about it.
Why?
And Chuck Barris, the first black mayor of Stone Mountain,
Chuck
lived
Barris.
in the Ku Klux Klansman, the Grand Wizard,
House.
moved into his house.
Right, because
He
black
bought
folk
it.
was not allowed in Stone Mountain.
I'm
No.
saying because where we live, they were saying it was a two made lakes there, and Representative Michelle Henson
Yeah,
told the Jewish lady. She told the history,
right.
and so that's just a little sidebar about what we're dealing with
Yeah.
Right.
and how things change.
You better not be caught
However-
there at night.
What year?
Right.
What was the year time frame?
60.
Six-
Sixties and the seventies, the seventies, the eighties.
The beginning of the 80s.
Right, when it-
I wasn't here, but they were saying the railroad track runs right in front of our subdivision.
Isn't that
You need to be on the other side,
Right.
going in the other direction,
Right.
unless you
I remember all
lived
of that.
in Stone Mountain, because they check your card and they'll say, boy,
Check your
gal, where
You wasn't.
your driver's license.
You
Oh,
wasn't-
they check the driver's license to see where you live?
They stop everybody.
But it wasn't was it a sundown town? It was only a sundown town.
It's sunset. You need to
A
be
sundown
where you
town.
You better not be.
Right.
If you don't live here, you don't need to be there.
Like
How
Forsyth
long
County.
ago was this?
Yeah.
In the 80s, 80s, late 70s.
Early 80s.
Yes.
I remember in the 50s, I guess I was had to be maybe 5 or 6 years old. Normally they would come through on Christmas Eve and they were allowed to go to the mountain and they would take that cross
Burn it.
and burn it. You could see it from
All over the city.
All over the city.
It'll go all the way
Oh.
to, you can see it from Atlanta.
you could see it from Atlanta.
That's a reminder for us.
Tall buildings
That's a
and stuff.
reminder.
Yeah, we didn't have tall buildings then.
And I think too that they were just as
Close your mouth, Sandra.
They were just, and 3rd Street, which is a street that we lived on, was unpaved. We had one paved street in Shermantown, and Shermantown was predominantly black. Everybody kin to everybody in Shermantown.
And then some.
Well, on those nights that we knew they were coming through, my dad, my Uncle Robert, my Uncle John, back then everybody called everybody uncle. It was a respect thing. So what they would do, and they were all hunters.
They had
So what they
shotguns
did on those nights
and the dogs.
was they had their guns,
Dogs.
their bottle of moonshine, and they sat on the front porch with their rifles next to them. And my dad's brothers, they would bring their children and their wives to our house. And he would tell us, y'all go stay in the back of the house, don't come out, just in case something jumped off. But you could hear them coming 3 miles away, horns blaring, that
Right on the back of the
Confederate
truck.
sign on the front of the hood. of
And the
car,
flags, terrorizing people.
Terrorizing,
I didn't fool with y'all out there.
terrorizing.
But see, back to the Buckhead police, black and white worked together
Mhm.
because they had to understand. We knew what we were doing. They had the money. Like the church that was built, the walls, the foundation are 3 feet thick.
Whoa.
They had to be.
And he purchased the product
Mm-hmm.
to build the church
Yeah.
and the parsonage and the house. The quality of the wood was it like he was building for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And because you just can't go in and buy what you want, gal.
Mhm. Say it now.
You said it.
Right. Isn't that
You had to
something?
get the other stuff.
Mhm.
And so in that, the relationships have been developed for a very, very long time.
Mhm.
And even to this day, in the Buckhead community, and the section in which we are in, the subdivision is called Havisham, which is a Jewish
Mhm.
statement. And then you have next door to that is which includes the governor's mansion. In his area is called the Tuxedo subdivision. But they work together.
Well,
The whole place is called Buckhead.
It's Buckhead,
Community,
Yeah.
city, whatever they.
right? And Buckhead, if they did separate, they're more profitable than the island of Bermuda.
Wow.
That's how much.
That little
revenue.
area.
There's so much money's up there. Mhm.
Rich, super
Yeah, I've
West Business Ferry is the most expensive drive in the South.
Oh, yeah. That's old Atlanta money.
And the houses look like apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
The houses are mansions.
Right.
One, two, both houses on both sides of the church are over $2.5 million.
Well, did Jamestown and Linwood Park have anything to do with
Yeah,
each other?
Jamestown's up here and Linwood Park's
Because
down there. And
Linwood
then
Park.
Linwood was Brookhaven, like
Okay,
that's where Brookhaven is.
Brookhaven is Linwood Park.
Because Linwood Park was all
Black.
Right, all the majority of some of these areas, because it was rural. When I pastored on La Vista Road at Mount Zion, they called it Nimsville, or it would, Mr. Stokes, he owned land from, Pleasantdale on 85 through Tucker to 78,
Jesus.
all the way up Northside Drive.
Good grief.
Not North, yeah,
White folk know
North
they
Decatur
lonesome.
Road to 85,
Never dreamed.
where the hospitals, all of that was black land.
Never dreamed.
All of it was black land until the 80s when the influx, when people said, oh, what is this?
Yep.
Even the houses that they're sitting in there, they never lose their property value. I have people that have maybe half an acre of land and it's probably worth $1 million now. Just the land.
And so let me ask you something, Reverend Richards. Your people in the church, I saw in some pictures where you had white people there. Was that an occasion, or do they come to the A standing for African Methodist Episcopal Church?
Right. Well, we always have visitors, or we have, what's that on our conference, not a conference, but our annual conference report. We have affiliated members
Yeah.
who
Oh.
will tell you that I'm a member. I've been coming here, and I will constantly and continuously give to the church.
I see.
These are white.
These are white people that
So,
are faithful.
and-
And that occasion that you're talking about is our 150th church anniversary 3 years ago. If the fire marshal showed up, we would have been shut down. And so
Wow.
we had a very successful church anniversary. And
Are there descendants of the white people there?
now
That
we've had one that was buried on the Miss Irby, who just passed, there was a lady who says that I'm related to her when she passed. But it's during COVID time when we buried her. And then there was another lady that came and she expressed her family ties to a family that is buried in the cemetery. And she's the thing of honor, auntie, uncle, as opposed to calling her the maid, but but she gave her the title auntie. And then who was the owner of Woolworths downtown where you couldn't go with your
Sit at the counter.
Right. There was a lady that we eulogized when I first was appointed. I can't remember her name, but she took care of the president's. She was the maid for the daughter, and now she's a lawyer. And when she was giving her remarks about her relationship, she said, "I want a doll that looks like Auntie." The manager told her, "You can't have that. It's not a good thing." And the little girl said, "I want." So then Auntie said, "We'll take care of this." She went and told the president, who is the daddy of Woolworth. She got her Barbie doll that looked like us.
You also know there's an Ida B. Wells Barbie doll.
Yes. And they were selling. There's one that they saw it, and two ladies were bidding on it in the dollhouse, the store downtown Stone Mountain. The man who has all those dolls,
Yes.
he has a huge collection, and these ladies were bidding on this doll. Several dolls that were African American girls, and so in essence, there was another young lady that who was the maid for Scarlett O'Hara, and so there was rich history.
What we're asking then is, it's for you, when you get ready to talk with Dr. Meeks, that you bring forth somebody that can do the podcast or that can talk about what I passed out Johnsontown.
Right.
You and Dr. Easton have that, you got that historical thing. If you could just do a little more
do have a
research
few
and
members
find a
that
few
can
members,
come.
and then Ms. Tarver here
Right.
has somebody y'all have already spoken.
Right, so I do have several members that would love to come and give you more detail because they grew up as children or married into the family, and they've seen the transformation of things over the year. But I can always say that there has been issues, but the majority of the support in the community has been very positive. If somebody came in with some negativity, they were quickly addressed and situations neutralized, because they say New Hope is the citadel of Buckhead. We was here in the community long before anybody, and doing
How long have
ministry.
you been there?
It's 153 years.
No, how long have you been there?
I've been pastoring 5 years. I didn't hear that part. What you drinking up there, Reverend?
You age well.
Yeah, there it is. She said it.
So I wanted to thank you. I wanted Reverend Richardson and Reverend Eason to add his part to this, and then Reverend Young is all Fourth Ward. I mean, he's the Fourth Ward guru,
Fourth Ward is what?
Edgewood and Auburn Avenue. So Reverend Eason.
Well, what I bring to the table, I would think is a little bit of the Fourth Ward too, because when I was at Morris Brown College and graduated and getting ready to go to the ITC, I was one of the first park rangers for the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Site. So,
And that's part of Fourth Ward?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and I'm sure Reverend Rowland is very familiar with that. And then going back to Lightning, I well remember when Amanda Flipper, AME Church in the early 80s, was still there on Northside Drive. Right. And also as relates to AME Church presence in the area, St. Mark AME church was not far.
Oh,
They-
that's
they
right.
were. You're
St.
right
Mark.
Right over in that same
Right up
area.
the street, really.
Yeah, not far from Amanda Flipper, you could walk to the
You
two.
sure could.
Now Amanda Flipper is in Decatur and St. Mark is on Barge and,
Over that way.
oh yeah.
But the shell of St.
St.
Marcus is still standing.
Isn't that
Really?
And the cornerstone is still there.
Yes.
Really?
So that would be excellent.
Where's that? That would be excellent to take a
It's on
picture of that.
Vine
Where's
Street.
that?
No, off
It's right
north
there.
side,
It's
in the
on
Vine
one
City
Yeah,
community.
Divine City.
In the
Oh,
Vine
my
City community.
goodness.
The shell is still right there.
And the
of course,
cornerstone is still,
On the
still
building.
on the
the
building.
cornerstone's still there.
On the shell of the building.
Yes, yes. And that's a lot of history.
That's a lot of history.
Yeah, Barge and
Hamilton
Campbellton.
was one-
Yeah, Barge and Campbellton, the St. Mark was right in the same neighborhood.
Okay.
On the other side, on the other side.
See, you had
I
three
didn't
or
know
four.
that.
You had 3 or 4 AME churches in close proximity
Sure did.
because you had Amanda Flipper, you had St. Mark, you had Cosmopolitan, and then Flipper Temple. You could walk probably to all of those.
We used to meet up
What
over
about,
Cosmopolitan
Allen?
all the
Just-
time.
Allen
Over
moved,
that Vine City.
Allen Temple,
Yeah.
before Allen Temple moved, it was where the old Braves Stadium was. Yeah, and St. Paul was actually at I-20, and, you know, when the interstate
Oh, yeah,
highways
big, right
came
there on the
through.
corner, right there.
Yeah, it was on Humphrey Street.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
so there's a lot of AME history
Yeah.
That's-
surrounding the area, a lot of
yes.
churches, so,
Right.
yeah. And of course, Allen Temple moved, when, yeah, the
Joseph E.
stadium,
Boone.
yeah, on Joseph Boone, yeah.
Well, that's the kind of history we're looking for, and that's the kind of history. I just found out about this St. Mark piece, and I'm AME. That is right across the street from those pictures right there.
From them steps, right there.
Yeah.
We
St.
need to
Mark
get,
is right
and who's
there.
guarding that piece? Is it something that,
They just didn't tear it down.
Right.
When
They know they
when-
can't touch it.
Maybe that's why they
But,
didn't
but,
tear
but,
it
the,
down.
but the other thing is, would be interesting, you know, is that, you know, who actually owns
Owns
that
it.
property?
Right.
That would be good to investigate.
I'm
But
pretty
St.
sure-
Mark should, I would think.
St. Mark should, yeah, they probably own it.
Oh, it was.
But just like the land with Cosmopolitan, you know, the records, things have, the fire,
Yeah,
things
sure.
burned, it's not there, but it's not, we can't get a hold to the actual deeds,
Right.
Why not? Yeah.
because things happen downtown.
City Hall burned. And a lot
Oh,
of.
and they said they
a
burned up and they
lot
don't
of
have any.
Stuff was destroyed concerning us.
us?
And I'll leave it at
All the
that.
black
Like
folks.
Forsyth County, the
Right.
same thing, yeah.
But it was just only certain things that burned.
It's funny how that fire.
Only
that
certain
fire
things.
And
Selective
This side was
burning.
no fire.
Right.
This side, the whole place burnt down. You know, it just gone.
But all the other records of the same businesses that were there, they were somehow removed.
Right, yeah,
They
but,
fortified.
right, but where?
Yes.
But where? You know, don't nobody know. And they never resurfaced again, for as I can remember. Yeah. it's-
That's like in
This is
New
what our
Orleans.
students need to hear.
Right,
You see,
right.
because part of what's wrong with our young people
They don't.
is they're not connected to this history.
That's true, that is true.
And it's leaving them without the moral authority to live in a racist world. And it's our job to do something about that.
Amen.
That's part of what this project is about.
Or they say, what are you talking about?
Right.
Well, that was the old days,
Old
yeah, but the
days.
old days you carry in your soul.
Amen.
And if you don't understand what it is, then you don't even know who you are.
Right.
You can't possibly know.
Do,
So.